Some call it a muscle car, others call it a monstrous coupe. I prefer the term behemoth. The Viper from Dodge is a family of cars I was first exposed to in Gran Turismo 1. It was the most talked about of all cars and was one of the most treasured and sought after vehicles in the game. It was only when I discovered what was hiding under that elongated hood that I began to understand the love, passion and hype. You've often heard me use phrases like bombshell and nuclear warhead when describing engines or power units of a gargantuan size. What we have here is something more akin to, say, a meteor, a comet. If you wanted to blow up the planet in the quickest and noisiest way possible, you would buy a nuclear warhead, probably from your local Walmart or Asda if you live here in the United Kingdom. You will then proceed to attach your reasonably priced nuke to the rear axle of this car and drive it full speed into the centre of the earth. Why? Because under that hood sits one of the largest, one of the loudest, one of the most powerful engines ever to be fitted to a mass-produced, commercially available automotive vehicle. 20 individually bent cylinders shaped into a monstrous V10 with an engine capacity size of 8.4 litres. That's not an engine, it's a refrigerator. Unfortunately, we live in sad times. You see, Greenpeace activists, vegetarians and followers of the boy band One Direction have put pressure on governments who have responded by introducing green-based emission schemes, higher insurance bandings and increased road tax. This, coupled with its alarming depreciation, means the Dodge Viper is no longer a feasible or viable option for most people's pockets. Year-on-year sales have plummeted despite Dodge doing their utmost to try and reverse the sinking ship with facelifted editions and revised models. And it's because of this that 2017 will mark the end of an era. The Viper brand as we know it will be consigned to the history books, as Dodge have taken the long, hard and somewhat painful decision to pull the plug on production and retire the Viper brand. But before it does disappear, I feel it deserves one last hurrah, a swan song, to borrow the phrase, one last ride. I didn't say it would be easy now, did I? This is the 2005 GT from Ford, a car built to celebrate Ford's dominance with the GT40 in the Le Mans 24-hour race in the early to mid-60s. Looking at the numbers behind this stunning piece of machinery, it seems to near enough match the Viper, give or take a few discrepancies, with the only major difference being that it has its engine mounted centrally within its body. So, for this reason, it makes it the ideal candidate to give the Viper one final dance before being laid to rest. So, for the very last time, let's find out if the Viper has one last bite. 66, 67, 68 and 69, the original Ford GT won the Le Mans race an incredible 4 years on the bounce, including a 1-2-3 finish in 1966. This car has sporting royalty running through its veins and will prove insanely difficult for the Viper to beat. Over the start finish line to begin the lap. Approaching the first corner here, hard on the brakes, the grip is incredible, minimal wheel spin, minimal drama, hard on the gas on exit, into the Rolex corner, oh very neatly done. Third gear, up into fourth, the turbocharger kicked in, it's whining at the top of its lungs as it surpasses 5,000 RPM. The GT with the Lamborghini Miura-like low centre of gravity, allowing it to remain planted in both high and low speed corners. Driving this car, I am absolutely astonished at how perfectly balanced it feels. I'm already beginning to worry for the Viper as we approach the world famous corkscrew chicane. Oh, bucking that Bronco in true American fashion. Extra chili on the hot dog for me. 110, 120, savage acceleration as we approach the final corner. The GT. Oh, big drift into the home straight. The supercharged V8 hauling us to the finish line in 1 minute 1.823. 1 minute 1.823. The bar has been set. The gauntlet has been laid down. Viper, it's over to you. Okay, so here we go. One last ride. The Dodge Viper, its final appearance. Will it end the night as the darling of the ball, or will it be reduced to the role of bumpkin? Neat and tidy out of the final corner, trying to build as much speed as possible in readiness for what will hopefully be the lap of its life. Those famous white stripes shining brilliantly in the afternoon sunlight as we approach the first corner, trying to clip the apex. Oh, wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin. Plumes of tyre smoke as the rear wheels are at the mercy of that V10 exiting the Rolex corner. The car has finally stabilised. The GT set an incredible time. The Viper went into this with its back against the wall, and like all snakes, it bit. And it bit hard. No supercharger here, just 8.4 litres of natural aspiration, and it's hauling us up this straight section. Dab of brakes. Oh, front tyres locking up under pressure. The Viper with its heavier weight. The corkscrew. Clips one. Launches through two. Oh, years of tradition are on the shoulders of this car right now, along with a T-bone steak and a side order of French fries from Wendy's in the trunk. The Viper, the embodiment of modern day America, and I for one will be very sad to see it go. It's been bold, it's been brave, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 1 minute 3.870. 1 minute 3.870. Oh, yes, it's only right that after such an epically close battle, we go back and analyse where the race was won and where it was lost. If you're new around here and it's your first time watching one of my head-to-head videos, I'd like to introduce you to this, the Born 1.5 instant replay system, powered by cheeseburgers and onions. So, crossing the start-finish line, as you would expect, both cars are neck and neck, nothing to separate the GT and the Viper. But as I slow the camera down, witness the cornering characteristics of a rear-mounted engine compared to that of one that is mounted centrally. The GT, even with late braking, managing the corner well. The Viper, however, is suffering from oversteer as the front end nosedived towards the apex. The back end began to suffer. Look at the tyre mark on the track as evidence for my cowardly cries of wheel spin. And it was at this point that I realised just how difficult a task this was going to be for the Viper to overcome. You see, the reason why manufacturers such as Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren all choose to position their engines centrally is to ensure that you, the driver, get the best possible driving experience. 50-50, perfect balance of weight distribution, thus making their supercars and hypercars drivable at high speed because you know exactly what you're getting when you turn the wheel. As we approach the corkscrew, we can see the GT has pulled out a sizable lead as it clips Degner 1, its low centre of gravity keeping it planted before clipping Degner 2. The Viper, less composed, clips 1, then becomes as unstable as me after 3 beers down the pub. At this point, I realised it was slipping away and desperately threw the car over 2, trying to claw back some time. But it was a lost cause, it was all in vain. The GT, relentless, unrepentant, increasing its lead over the Viper. The old man was on the ropes in the final rounds. It was all about pride from here on. Both cars giving it everything they've got to the finish line. The GT crosses the line first, and for the last time, so does the Viper. Unfortunately, not every story has a happy ending. Goodbye, Viper. Goodbye.